guys, welcome to session 2 of your Mindful Minutes program. I hope last week you were able to use your new tool in your tool belt, which is your diaphragmatic breathing, your belly breathing. And maybe you had an experience throughout the week where you did feel some of those really big emotions, and being able to connect with your breath was able to support you a little better and help you a little bit more. Did you remember to use it? I hope that you did, and if you didn't, don't worry. You can have a reminder now that that is something that you can access and you can use all of the time. So never ever shy away from realizing how powerful the breath is and how much it can help you. Okay, today we're going to talk a little bit more mindfulness, and we're going to discuss something that I think is really important for us to know from a very young age. Hear me out here. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. I'm going to say it again. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. What do I mean by that? Now, in this world, do you know that you have control over one single thing? Can you guess what it might be? It is yourself. You actually don't have control over anything else except yourself. So the people around you, the weather, your circumstances, the situation, what time it is, you have no control over any of that. The only thing you have control over is your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your behaviors, your attitude, the way you react in a situation. That's what you have control over, all of those things, but those things are directly yours. They're only yours. So if that's the case, do you think there's going to be lots of things that show up in your lifetime that perhaps you don't like very much? Maybe that make you frustrated or feel angry, maybe that make you sad, maybe that challenge you to do something that's out of your comfort zone. Many of those opportunities or experiences are going to turn up for you in your life. And even though we don't really have control over them, what we have control over is how we are in those situations, how we think about those situations. So I want you to grab a hold of your journals quickly, and I want you to think about something in your life that happens over and over that maybe you don't like so much, but you realize you don't have very much control over. So maybe it's something like the way your younger brother or sister annoy you. Maybe it's like something that you have to eat on a Tuesday night because that's what's served up for dinner. Maybe it's a person at school that perhaps is unkind to you, or a subject at school that you find really difficult. Can you just list down in your journals now one thing that you don't really like that's going on in your life? It's not really making you feel so great. I'm going to give you 1 minute to do that. So it could be anything, something in your life that you don't really like, don't really look forward to, or perhaps makes you feel feelings that you don't like feeling. Okay, how did you go? Okay, now I want you to think about that thing you just wrote about. And I want you to realize how you think about that situation. So what thoughts come up when you think about that? Are the thoughts frustration, anger, sadness? What thoughts come up? Okay, so given now that we know you can't control it, given now that we know you can't control the fact that your little brother annoys you all of the time, he's just going to do it, maybe you could change the way you think about it. So maybe you could realize that the reason why your brother is annoying you is because he actually wants to get your attention, because he looks up to you and he cares and loves for you, and he wants you to play with him. So maybe you could look at that, instead of being something that's annoying, as something that's actually really lovely, that there's somebody in your world that really looks up to you and admires you and wants to spend time with you. Can you see that? And maybe if that's the way that you thought about that situation, it wouldn't frustrate you so much. You wouldn't be so grumpy towards your little brother, because you would realize that he's just trying and begging for your attention because he loves and cares about you and wants to spend time with you. What about a subject at school? What about maybe when it gets to a subject at school throughout your day, and when that subject arrives, you realize that you don't like it. You have lots of yucky emotions attached to that subject. Maybe it's sport. Maybe you don't feel comfortable doing sport. Maybe it's maths. You find it really challenging. Now, if we think about that subject at school, maybe you can realize what your thoughts are about that subject at school. How do you think about it? When sports turns up in the day, what are your thoughts straight away that come to your mind? Are they like, oh man, I hate this. I don't like doing this. This isn't fun. This is hard. Can you see how all of those thoughts won't really allow you to have a good time when you're in sport at school? What about instead if you could change your thoughts to something like, I feel really grateful that I get to go outside and play and move my body and get exercise. Or this is challenging, but I know that if I try my very best, I'm going to improve slowly but surely. Or maybe you'll realize that the thing that you were doing in sport that day is actually something that you enjoy doing and you have a really great time doing it. So when all of these situations happen in our life that we can't control, we have two choices. We can choose to think badly towards them, or we can choose to try and think a bit more positively towards them. And I promise you that if you choose to think a bit more positively towards them, you'll end up having a much better time in that situation. It won't create so many yucky emotions because you'll be open to exploring and seeing what good opportunities could come from that situation. It's really a wonderful tool to have in your toolkit. So, can I invite you to do this? Next time you are in a situation where straight away your thinking is negative, it's not so great, it's a bit grumpy towards that person or that situation, can you challenge yourself to change your thinking and see what outcome you get? You might surprise yourself. So there's going to be a worksheet at the end of this class that helps supports all of the stuff we've spoken about today and last lesson. But before we finish off, can we do some diaphragmatic breathing together and practice what it feels like to breathe and calm our body? So today I'm going to invite you to keep your palms rested on your knees if you can. And we're going to think about breathing from one spot, which is our belly, all the way up to our heart, and breathing out from our heart back down to our belly. Can we do that together? 4 rounds of belly breath. Here we go. Resting your palms on your knees. Okay, we're going to take a big breath in from your belly, all the way to your heart, and then a big breath out from your heart to your belly. Good, let's try 3 more together. Big breath in. Notice how your chest lifts, big breath out. All the way back down to your belly button. 2 more like this, everybody. Big breath in. And a big breath out. And a last one, big breath in. And a big breath out. Nice work, beautiful diaphragmatic breathing. So a reminder that you breathe 23,000 times a day. When you're feeling some of those really big emotions that make you feel overwhelmed or sad or angry or anxious, you have your breath to support you all of the time. Take big breaths in and big breaths out, and notice how slowly but surely you'll calm your nervous system. And the second thing you need to remember, that if you can't change it, why don't you try changing the way you think about it and see what better outcomes you get. Have a really great time applying both of those tools in your toolkit. But for now, namaste.